Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo and you've tuned into another live edition of the Locker Gnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. I do this every single weekday. It's usually around an hour long, so if you want an hour's worth of Chris Pirillo, you've got to become a patron. Head over to chrispirillo.com to sign up. It's easy to do. And I usually talk about tech every weekday if I'm not answering questions from the community of patrons. They have tech questions at times. I'm talking about the tech news that I see that I find interesting. And you may have noticed that I've moved on to somewhat slightly more interesting topics as of late. That does not mean that I've stopped talking about tech. It's just that I've stopped talking about it with everybody for the most part, for a lot of different reasons. But I thought, I'd throw everybody a bone, because some people claim falsely that I don't talk tech. It's just not true. And talk about the 3 reasons I don't collect tech. I collect a lot of things. My collections grow by the day. In fact, one of the things, the 4 things that I have for today's Pirillo Picks video are collectible. I just love collectibles. But tech is not collectible. So after I talk about the topic, I'm doing Pirillo Picks, then I'm answering questions, then I'm talking tech news. So, tech. It's an enabler. It doesn't just sit there. You don't really use tech if it's not working. It's got to be working, right? So that makes it de facto not collectible. Now, that does not mean that you're, wrong if you collect tech. It's just, these are the reasons I don't hold on to old technology. What's the point? I look at it and say, well, what's the point? Because if it's not working, if it's not doing anything, then it's doing nothing. And what's the point of tech doing nothing? Now, I don't mean just sitting there and doing something. I mean sitting there doing nothing. That's what a collectible does. And tech doesn't. I get it. Some people like holding on to technology. I think it's a really bad idea. Okay, so I've explained that, my first reason already. The second reason, I'm going to try to explain why I think it's a very bad idea. Because look at, let's just say for argument's sake, a computer that you used 10 years ago. I'm going back. Now, maybe you're lucky and you're still using the same computer that you did 10 years ago. Now, I'm taking an extreme here. How much is that computer worth? Computers are like cars. You drive them off the lot and they're already worth half as much. Apple is an exception to the rule, but that does not mean that Apple's products gain value over time. Technology doesn't gain value over time. It doesn't. You know why? Because the industry is driven on upgrades. Upgrades, not different things. So you can't upgrade a collectible. The collectible is what it is. I'm not gonna, take an extreme and say that this can koozie, which is collectible, is it too late for the sports ball dome game bowl thing for the Seahawks? I don't know. This is collectible. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing. This may be worth more than your computer was 10 years ago. Okay, today. You probably spent more for your computer 10 years ago than you would today. But you upgrade tech. You don't upgrade collectibles. Who upgrades their collectibles? You just get another one. You don't do that with tech. I mean, I'll go another route with this. How many Wi-Fi access points do you need? A few, yeah. But are they collectible? Not unless you have a collection of Wi-Fi access points. If that's your thing, I can't deny it. I'm just telling you why I think it's pointless, because you're losing money. Yeah, I mean, technology, it's a series of tools, okay? Now, I've said it before. Technology is an enabler, not a destination. It's just not collectible. I'm sorry. So, how many screwdrivers that are the same size do you possibly need? That's technology. It's a fancy screwdriver. Again, I'm minimizing its impact. And technology can be very powerful, but it's just not. I've yet to see any other indication. It's not collectible. So it's outdated quickly. We got the upgrade cycles. When it's not doing anything, it's pointless. Just think about it. If you had a broken computer, are you going to keep it? Well, why? It's broken. Get rid of it. It's junk. It loses value almost immediately, certainly when it's replaced and replaceable, and technology was designed to be replaceable. Collectibles weren't. Get it through your thick skull, or maybe it's too thin. I don't know. It rarely accrues value, was not designed outright to be collectible necessarily. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. Absolutely. For example, Star Wars anything, for the most part. This BB-8, it's tech. But you know what? Here's the thing. It looks good even when it's not working. There are exceptions to every rule, man. You may collect tech. That's your prerogative. I'm telling you why I generally don't. This is one of those things that is technology that I consider a part of my collection. It's true. It is true. So I have tech in my collection. I just don't collect tech. There's kind of a big difference there, and if I really need to explain it to you, I guess I'll have to do another video at some point. I guess the bottom line for me is that technology is a means to an end. To this end here, as I pull over the stand, and no, I don't want to refresh, but I guess I did. There is today's presentation. I'm going to press play on this gigantic screen of the iPad Pro. This iPad Pro, it's worth something. It is today. 10 years from now, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be worth anything. Now, are you going to collect an iPad? Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, collect the iPad. Hold on to it. What is it going to collect? Dust. Now, you might use it for nostalgic purposes, but when I wax nostalgic when it comes to software, I fire up an emulator, and I'm good to go. I remember growing up with technology, but it was never something that I wanted to always have. I liked it for what it enabled. Technology is a means to an end. It's a tool. It's an enabler. It's not a destination. That's what makes tech work so well. That's what makes the world go round these days. It's all about software. Again, I'm showing you why. I can't collect software. I can collect software boxes that they don't make anymore. I can collect discs that they don't necessarily put software on anymore. I'm more of a software guy than a hardware guy, for the most part. Like when it comes to technology, it's great. Technology is awesome, but it was designed to be purchased, used, and then eliminated when you upgrade. You don't eliminate collectibles. Now, you might collect something and then get rid of it later. Hey, that's your prerogative. I'm just sitting here saying, if I'm going to collect something, it's that I love it and enjoy it. Not that it's going to accrue value, but it means something to me. And old tech, it's old tech. I mean, do you think I'm going to use the first iPad? Do you think I'm going to hold on to it? No, I don't. I don't hold on to old tech. I really don't. I'm not even going to come close to apologizing for it either. Some people do. Some people collect that stuff. I just think it's kind of, if you're a museum, I suppose. I don't know. I think there are way better things to spend your money on. And technology was designed to be used. Use technology. Upgrade technology. That's what makes technology so awesome. Okay? But understand, once again, Chris is more of a software guy. And anybody who's been listening to me for any degree of time already knows that. It's no surprise that half of my tweets this morning, and I sent out a few, were me doing, "I told you so!" From the teddy bear that apparently can get hacked, all the way to now tech journalists are waking up to the things that I was saying 3 years ago. Sometimes I get tired of being right. And I don't mean that in a very egotistical way, although it sounds like that. But I've been complaining about certain things that now other people are just starting to complain about, but I've been doing it for years, and no one's listened. So, of course, now that it's said and done, oh yeah, everything's fine. Sometimes that's the problem with being right too soon. But I was right. Shrug emoji. That's what you get. Shrug emoji. Right there. I'm going to move on to something that is collectible. Insanely collectible. And actually, it's apropos that Jedi has wet hair. Why does Jedi have wet hair?
She's had a bath.
Oh, you just had a baphosis. It's the fun word for bath. She's going to start saying baphosis now. It is appropriate that you're here because I'm moving on to Pirillo picks. Yeah, they're for you. They're for you. So TLDR continues. We got some more tech talk going on, news and questions and everything. Can't wait to dive into it with my patrons. If you want to become a patron, get all of TLDR. Yeah, I know, you're a patron by default, Jedi. And Jedi's going to be in today's Pirillo picks. Head over to chrispirillo.com to get all access to TLDR. Today's free podcast highlight was brought to you by all of my active patrons from chrispirillo.com. If you want access to the full TLDR episodes, both audio, video, past, present, and future, which can be up to an hour long or longer, with even more tech insight from me every weekday, plus other bonus content without ads, and support me at the same time, you can sign up to become one of my supernomies too. This is just a brief taste of what I'm producing for you daily. Again, get more through chrispirillo.com.